All right, let's try and unravel the world of cannabis. You know, it's one of those topics where it feels like the more you learn, the less you actually know.
I mean, is it legal or illegal? Is it a medicine or a poison? A simple plant or some complex piece of biotechnology? Well, the truth is, it kind of seems to be all of these things at once. It's a huge set of contradictions that makes it almost impossible to get your head around.
So, to make any sense of it, we need a new way of thinking, a new mental model. And that model is the Ouroboros. Yeah, that ancient symbol of a serpent eating its own tail. It stands for a system of paradoxes and feedback loops, and honestly, it is the perfect key to understanding cannabis today.
In this first loop, we need to understand, well, it's not in some law book or a corporate boardroom. It's actually inside every single one of us. It's the biological foundation for literally everything that follows.
This is what's called the endocannabinoid system, or the ECS for short. Just think of it like your body's universal regulator, kind of like a biological dimmer switch. It's constantly working behind the scenes to keep everything in balance. We're talking mood, pain, your immune system, metabolism, the whole shebang.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that the ECS works backward. See, most signals in your brain travel in one direction. But with the ECS, the neuron that receives the signal actually sends one back to the sender, basically telling it, hey, quiet down. It's a genuine biological feedback loop, where the effect actually changes the cause.
But what happens when you overload this delicate system with super high-potency THC? Well, that loop can actually break and flip on its head. This can lead to this bizarre condition called cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, where the very thing people use to treat nausea suddenly starts causing uncontrollable vomiting. The medicine literally becomes the poison. The serpent is choking on its own tail.
And this self-consuming pattern, it doesn't just happen in our bodies. It also perfectly defines the absolutely chaotic legal landscape of cannabis, a system that is just built on top of contradiction.
So, at the very core of all this is a massive paradox. Federally, cannabis is a Schedule I drug. That's the same category as heroin. But at the state level, during the pandemic, cannabis dispensaries in many places were declared essential businesses. Think about that. Illegal and essential at the exact same time.
So this central conflict creates this totally modern riddle. How is it possible that you see ads for potent cannabis products online, stuff you can get everywhere, shipped right to your door, if it's supposed to be federally illegal?
Well, the answer is a truly brilliant legal loophole. So get this. The 2018 Farm Bill made hemp legal, defining it by its super low level of psychoactive delta-9 THC. But the cannabis plant naturally produces something called THCA, which is a non-psychoactive acid. That THCA only turns into the THC that gets you high when you add heat. So a plant is technically legal hemp right up until the moment a flame turns it into psychoactive cannabis. It's wild.
And this just perfectly illustrates the Ouroboros in action. You have a static federal law that was meant to legalize industrial hemp, but it unintentionally created this massive, dynamic system that now directly competes with and undermines the tightly regulated state markets. The law is literally eating itself.
All right, so this constant state of chaos, both legally and biologically, is forcing the plant and our entire relationship with it to evolve at an incredible speed.
For decades now, we've been locked in what you could call a potency arms race. The consumer demand for higher and higher THC has pushed breeders and chemists to create products with THC levels that are 10, 20, even 30 times stronger than what your parents might have seen.
And culturally, we've seen this fascinating evolution. The journey really kicked off with the whole Reefer madness era, where cannabis was painted as this ultimate destroyer. The backlash to that, the antithesis, was its acceptance as a legitimate medicine, a healer. And now we're in this new phase, a synthesis, where it's being viewed as a wellness tool, something for lifestyle optimization.
And this new wellness phase, it's really driving the California sober trend. You've got nearly half of all Americans saying they're trying to drink less alcohol, and a lot of them are swapping it out for cannabis, seeing it as a healthier way to relax and socialize.
So when we look ahead, the market is really splitting in two. On one side, you have the agricultural art of craft flower, grown in living soil to get this unique chemical profile, kind of like fine wine has a terroir. And on the complete other side, you've got the scientific precision of brewing specific cannabinoids in genetically modified yeast, completely separate from the plant itself.
This means that the future of the cannabis industry might not involve a lot of farming at all. It could be dominated by synthetic biology, where the plant is basically just the source code for molecules that are then mass-produced in a lab.
So after all that, after this dizzying tour, what are you supposed to take away from all this? Where does all this contradiction and chaos actually leave us?
It really all boils down to a set of core paradoxes that define the whole system. You've got the federal government versus the states. You have a plant that's legal one second and illegal the next. You have consumers who want super high potency, which comes with more risks. And you have social equity programs that are often totally inaccessible to the very people they were designed to help.
And here it is. This is the most important thing to get. These contradictions, they aren't bugs in the system. They're not problems that need to be solved. They are the very engine driving the constant, high-energy evolution of this entire space.
Just think about it for a second. The fact that the block market is still around, that's forcing states to rethink their crazy high tax rates. That whole THCA hemp loophole, it's forcing the federal government to reevaluate the very definition of cannabis. And its undeniable medical use is forcing us to rethink what we even consider medicine. Every single point of friction creates progress.
So the green Ouroboros is biting its own tail. It is consuming the old world of prohibition, of traditional farming, and even our old cultural stigmas. And whatever emerges from that process, it's going to be something completely new.
And that leaves us with one final thought. The serpent doesn't die, it just sheds its skin to be reborn. So as cannabis sheds its agricultural skin, are we going to know it less as a plant that we grow and smoke, and more as a technology, a line of code that we consume?